Tonight, a devastating assault leaves a Winnipeg neighborhood shaken.
A little boy attacked in his bed.
When I close my eyes, that's all I see.
A family left devastated after Winnipeg's third violent incident involving a child in just a week.
Strong winds fan those California wildfires, sparking an unprecedented warning.
Peter McKay takes aim at Andrew Scheer's election campaign.
It was like having a breakaway on an open net and missing the net.
And it's no trick, Montreal postpones Halloween. What spooked the city into delaying trick-or-treating? This is The National. A senseless act of violence has shaken a Winnipeg community. A stabbing in the middle of the night, the victim, a 3-year-old boy.
It's the third attack on a child in that city in just days, and as Nellie Gonzalez shows us, the young boy's family is horrified and hurting.
Inside this North End Winnipeg home, a heinous crime. A 3-year-old boy attacked in his own bed in the middle of the night, left gravely injured.
He got stabbed in the neck.
His aunt, who CBC News is not naming to protect the child's identity, lives in the home but wasn't there when it happened. She's the one who found him.
When I close my eyes, that's all I see. I don't know how anybody could do anything like this.
To a kid.
She says the family believes it was the mother's ex-boyfriend who allegedly stabbed the toddler after getting into a fight with the mom at a bar. They allege he left the bar alone, went straight to the house where an adult nephew was in charge but sleeping, and attacked the child. The boy is in critical condition.
He's had two blood
already.
transfusions.
Yeah, he's not doing good, really.
This is the third violent attack in Winnipeg since Saturday involving a child. A 14-year-old girl died after she was stabbed at a Halloween party, and a baby was shot in a home. That baby is expected to survive. This latest incident, another disturbing one for officers.
Words can't even begin to describe the sadness surrounding this event. It's an unthinkable event.
For neighbors, too, especially the one who heard screams that night but didn't know what was happening.
Guilty, like I could have done something, but I couldn't. Like,
Feel bad.
like kids live all around here.
Oh man, I think of my daughter and I just think of everything and like how that family's feeling and stuff.
The boy's mother remains in hospital with her son. No arrests have been made yet. Nellie Gonzalez, CBC News, Winnipeg.
As you heard, this is the latest in a string of violent incidents targeting children. Last night, a vigil was held to remember the 14-year-old girl killed this weekend.
Her life didn't need to be taken at such a young age. I love her so much. I'm going to miss her so much.
Friends and family were joined by total strangers to mourn her loss. More than 50 people gathered outside the house where the stabbing happened. 2 teens now face second-degree murder charges.
In California tonight, there are 2 big concerns. Winds strong enough to warrant an unprecedented warning, and the still growing number of wildfires they're fueling. Today, at least 2 new fires sparked near LA, and where there are flames, there is fear. Just before dawn, north of Los Angeles, a sudden, terrifying glow. Fire sparked at what officials say was the worst possible time, with winds howling and everything tinder dry. The response was fast, because right now, everyone is at the ready, including those who rushed in, horse trailers in tow, to rescue panicked livestock.
Trying to contact these people, I have no idea who they are, so if these are your horses, please let me know.
Statewide, the toll is severe. At least 540 buildings destroyed or damaged, power out for hundreds of thousands of people, and everyone nervously waiting to see what happens next. That pre-dawn fire near LA put about 7,000 homes under a mandatory evacuation order. Nick Purton spoke to people who live there just after word went out.
This is a new fire that broke out just early this morning. I'm in the Simi Valley, just north of Los Angeles. As you can see, the fire is burning out of control on the hillsides here. Now, what's really concerning is the very strong winds, 100-kilometer strong winds that have been predicted have arrived in the area.
The electricity went out, so our car was
Kim Thornton lives nearby. She says she's lived through these fires before and knows what's at stake.
I'm worried about people losing what they've worked their entire lives for, and their memories and things like that, and the homes and lives. All this other stuff can be replaced.
As I drove closer to the area being evacuated, this is what I saw. In Thousand Oaks, the evacuation was underway. Joe Hennigy had one last load.
Just taking a few things that mean a little bit, especially to my wife and my kids, just in case the house, I hope, will not burn down. Good luck, guys.
I'm in the mandatory evacuation zone. Now this is the home of the Stallnakers. They have 3 trucks here parked. They have packed all their most valuable things inside these trucks. They say if they see the fire, they're ready to go. But for now, they're focused on saving their house. Carly Stallnaker just doesn't want to leave. What's the house mean to you?
Well, you know, we've lived here for over 20 years. I've lived in Thousand Oaks all my life, so definitely taking all the pictures off the wall was, you know, cathartic experience, but I think we'll be fine.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed.
Nick Purdon, CBC News, Thousand Oaks, California.
Now, the biggest of the wildfires is in California wine country. The Kincaid fire has been burning for more than a week, but tonight, some good news for people who live there. Nearly all of the evacuation orders have been lifted. Still, as Aaron Collins shows us, getting back to normal will take some time yet.
Hard to imagine today, but the massive Kincaid fire rolled through this valley soon after it broke out.
There was a glow behind the hill, and all of a sudden, with a blink of an eye, the whole mountainside was lit up.
That fire destroyed around 90 homes in Sonoma County, including the one Dave Demosthenes grew up in, just meters from where he lives now.
What were you thinking when that fire came over the ridge there?
Save the house, save the house. That was the main thing. I didn't think about myself.
Well, his current home is fine, but signs of the ongoing wildfire fight are easy to see in the skies overhead.
Did he get out okay?
On the ground, lifelong neighbors check in on each other.
Oh, God, I'll tell you.
But even as the threat of fire here appears to be waning, other worries are top of mind.
We've spent the last 3 or 4 days protecting our houses and the property and a few of the neighbors, and the main concern right now is the people looting.
Off on patrol, he'll continue to make his rounds until his neighbors return. Demosthenes on the lookout too, but for hot spots, not intruders. Relieved that the worst may be over, for this year at least.
These called these lifetime fires, but now we get them every year. I mean, usually you see one in a lifetime. Now you get them. We're getting them every year, every other year.
Thoughts of next year creeping in before this year's fires are even fully out. Aaron Collins, CBC News, near Jimtown, California.
Back here in Canada, the Quebec government is moving ahead with a controversial election promise. In the new year, immigrants who want to live in the province will have to pass a values test. Alison Northcott explains what it will look like and how it's being received.
Quebec Premier François Legault says potential immigrants to the province need to understand what he calls Quebec values.
If somebody wants to come and live in Quebec, to know that, for example, women are equal to men in Quebec. It's important. It's important in certain religion or extremism. People, they don't agree with that.
Starting January 1st, Quebec's immigration minister says anyone applying to be an economic immigrant to Quebec will have to answer 20 questions.
Every new police officer cannot wear a religious symbol during his job. True or false?
Other questions could include, in Quebec, women and men have the same rights, and this is inscribed in law. What is the official language of Quebec? Applicants who fail the test can try twice more before their file is closed. While the test wouldn't apply to asylum seekers like Grace Kalume, she says it could help newcomers prepare for life here.
C'était un choc terrible.
She says for her, the cultural differences were a shock, and says immigrants who come here need to learn and adapt. The test comes from a CAQ election promise, but one opposition politician said the law is responding to an imaginary problem and that immigrants learn about Quebec values by being here. Before even coming to Quebec, before even seeing 1 gram of snow, says Quebec Solidaire's Andreas Fontecella, they'll be tested on the fundamental values that keep us together. But this immigration lawyer says he doesn't think the test will be a barrier for many immigrants.
It would be wrong to say that our immigrants yet did not respect those values. I think immigrants show their integration, they succeed their integration, they're a gigantic plus value to our economy. And I'm not sure if there was really a problem.
In a statement, the federal government said Quebec has the right to choose its economic immigrants and the selection criteria for them. Alison Northcott, CBC News, Montreal.
And while Quebec debates policy, things are still relatively quiet in Ottawa as federal politicians start to trickle back into work after the election. Well, today it was the NDP, a much smaller team, meeting on the Hill today for their first caucus meeting. And the Conservatives, with their increased numbers, they will hold their meeting next week. But Rosie, the big talk now, obviously, is really about their leader.
Yeah, it's about Andrew Scheer, who's very much the object of speculation right now, in spite of what he's saying, and in spite of the fact that he improved his party's position last week. There are ongoing questions about his leadership. The Conservative leader was bristling with confidence after the election and reducing the Trudeau Liberals to a minority government. But as Hannah Thibodeau reports, there could be trouble ahead.
Thank you to all. Since election night, Conservative leader Andrew Scheer and senior MPs have been getting ready for Wednesday's caucus meeting. But many Conservatives who want to remain anonymous say if Scheer remains leader, he'll only hand Justin Trudeau a majority in the next election. They worry Scheer's offside on same-sex marriage, and his climate plan doesn't go far enough. Today, someone who's run for the Conservative leadership before took a tough shot at Scheer's performance in the campaign.
Yeah, to use a good Canadian analogy, it was like having a breakaway on an open net and missing the net. People did not want to talk about women's reproductive rights. They didn't want to talk about revisiting the issue of same-sex marriage. And yet that was thrust onto the agenda and hung around Andrew Scheer's neck like a stinking albatross, quite frankly. And he wasn't able to deftly deal with those issues.
Multiple sources tell CBC News that behind the scenes, a potential leadership team is forming around Peter MacKay, including organizers and fundraisers. Sources say that MacKay will only consider running if Scheer is no longer in the picture. He, like many others, aren't interested in an unseemly public leadership battle. Still, publicly at least, most MPs are taking a united front.
Caucus is behind our leader. That's I've been talking to caucus members since last Monday, and they are disappointed we didn't win, but they know that for us to stay united, we need to focus on replacing Justin Trudeau.
Apart from a caucus revolt, there's no mechanism to push the leader out until next April at the Conservative Convention, when there's a review of Scheer's leadership. Hannah Thibodeau, CBC News, Ottawa.
For the first time since last week's election, a newly downsized NDP caucus met in Ottawa today. And while MPs are standing by their leader, the party still faces an uphill battle, especially in Quebec. Ashley Burke explains.
It's a smaller caucus, but the NDP says it's still influential.
We're veterans and minorities, so it'll be good.
MPs came together for the first time since losing 15 seats in the election.
Canadians have said that they want us all to work together. Well, we'll see how well that does work when Parliament unfolds.
Jagmeet Singh tried to put a positive spin on it, as he has throughout the campaign, but even he couldn't be entirely upbeat.
I'm very proud of the work that we all put in on my incredible team. I'm not satisfied with the results, and that means that we need to continue to work hard.
Especially in Quebec, where there's only one NDP MP left standing. He acknowledges there's a steep mountain to climb.
Maybe not the Everest, but it's a big one. I will have to recruit new Sherpas, I think.
Also present today, New Democrats who didn't seek re-election or were defeated. Their message, Singh proved to his team he could be a strong campaigner. But some say he should have been more present long before the campaign, especially in Quebec.
His absence on the field let our opponents define him, and we were not able to recover from that.
We ran a wonderful campaign. We were on the right direction. I think that maybe we caught fire a little too late for people to know and to see what we were representing.
Despite their diminished caucus, New Democrats are standing behind Singh.
He deserves another kick at the can, if you'll forgive the expression, for the next election, especially because in the minority situation, he'll have a chance to show what he can do in negotiating with the government.
The NDP plans to put pressure on the Liberals on issues like universal farmer care. But Justin Trudeau has said that he'll be looking for support on a bill-by-bill basis. That could mean instead turning to other parties to get laws passed. Ashley Burke, CBC News, Ottawa.
Okay, and just one more political note. Green Party leader Elizabeth May told CBC News she is considering running for Speaker of the House of Commons.
It interests me. It would be wrong to say it's interested me for a very long time. There is an attraction, I think, in a minority parliament to having a speaker who represents a party not in power.
Now, she would have to leave her job as leader of the Green Party to do so, but Elizabeth May has already said she doesn't plan to stay on as leader for another 4 years. All right, now back to Toronto.
Okay, Rosie. Well, for kids and parents, tomorrow is a big day, one that some folks look forward to all year. It's trick-or-treating time, but that's if there's a Halloween. You see this giant swath stretching across eastern North America. It's a massive storm expected to bring some pretty intense winds and driving rain. And now several communities don't think it's safe to send the little monsters out tomorrow, including Montreal, which is postponing Halloween until Friday. Yeah, you heard right. Montreal is bumping Halloween. And keep in mind, this is a city quite familiar with rough weather. So this decision has unleashed more than a little hell. David Common got the lay of the land.
Back in the 80s, rain was no scare. Halloween sacrosanct. Delaying it inconceivable. But hey, times change. Across eastern North America, reschedule the haunt now a real thing.
Is that true? Yeah. No way. I think Halloween's like a holiday. Like, I don't know. Can you postpone a holiday? People don't postpone Christmas because of the snow, just saying.
Well, Montreal is saying that. The trick of the treat, that it'll be on Friday instead, haunting not just the city, but the suburbs too. It's about the safety and security of the kids, says Suzanne Roy, the mayor of Saint-Julie. A shocker for even those who have a crystal ball for weather.
In my years of doing weather, I've never seen Halloween being postponed.
And there's a good chance the weather could be just as bad on Friday.
It'll be drier Friday, but the winds will be a problem with those wind gusts of over 60 kilometers per hour.
Dozens of towns in the eastern U.S. also postponing Halloween.
Come Thursday night, the rain's going to be coming down. There's going to be wind. We don't want tree limbs coming down. Obviously, we don't want visibility issues when you have kids out in the neighborhoods.
Ottawa could get snow, but still going ahead. It'll be worse the day after, they figure.
I feel like they should not move Halloween. It would be a disgrace to Halloween because it's been October 31st forever.
Not this year, at least not everywhere. Still, if you're a kid, free candy is still free and candy. Take it. Anywhere, anytime. David Common, CBC News, Toronto.
Okay, so while Montrealers are being asked to postpone Halloween until Friday, one neighborhood did decide to go early, and the kids there didn't seem to mind.
It's actually the best. Yeah, because I know it's going to be a really rainy, crappy day.
It's the best. All this after a mom posted the idea on Facebook. And for those out trick-or-treating tonight, cloudy skies, but no rain. I will say this, though. I don't think it's that crazy of an idea to postpone Halloween, and I'll tell you why. Because as a guy who's planning on taking tomorrow night off to take the kids trick-or-treating, by the way, I'm taking tomorrow night off to take the kids trick-or-treating. I don't want to do it in the rain. Why would I?
Well, fair. The 8-year-old me, however, would be entirely devastated by this. I do know the people in Saskatoon where there's snow who are planning on going to the mall or might be rolling their eyes.
Yeah. Okay, more news still ahead on The National, including new concerns about the pollution millions of us are breathing in. It comes from just living near major roads, but it's not just the traffic congestion causing problems.
Plus, emotion, blame, and heartbreak at the inquiry into the Grenfell Tower tragedy.
And the beginning of the end of daylight saving time, the BC government says is tabling legislation to do just that. We're back in 2 minutes.
London's fire brigade is defending itself tonight following the official release of an inquiry's report into the 2017 Grenfell fire tragedy. That's where 72 people died. The brigade's commissioner says firefighters faced unprecedented, unimaginable conditions and saved lives. But as Margaret Evans tells us, that is little comfort to relatives of the victims.
More than 2 years after the Grenfell fire, investigators are still at work in the tower block, even today, carried up along a thin seam in the white that now shrouds the building. But nothing can cover the open wound that Grenfell has left behind. The people who survived it, the people who lost loved ones to the flames, remain the walking wounded.
I came from the tower without shoes. I just was standing and looking at Grenfell Tower. I couldn't, is it me or not me? What's happening? What's going on? And that flashback is in my mind every day.
Oh my God, today, many relived the horror. Phase 1 of an official inquiry pointing to mistakes made by the fire brigade, failing to advise residents to leave. A chaotic and disorganized emergency call center, unbearable to hear for some.
My familia. Why?
El Alami Hamdan lost his daughter, son-in-law, and 2 grandchildren. Nazanin Ahlani lost her mother and aunt. She wants prosecutions.
I'm not saying individual firemen, they did a hard job, bless them, they probably don't even get paid that well, but the seniors at the top, they get good money to do a very serious job.
The report blames combustible cladding on the outside of the building for the fire's spread. The fire brigade's union here believes that should be the inquiry's first focus.
None of those difficult questions have been asked of the people actually responsible for putting the cladding on the outside of Grenfell Tower.
Critics say the same type of cladding on hundreds of buildings across Britain is still up. As the country faces an election, it's a concern for activists anxious to keep the lessons of Grenfell front and center.
Our country is really damaged at the moment, and it's all being ignored because of Brexit. And Grenfell, yes, is one of those things again that is being pushed to the wayside.
The inquiry's ultimate findings are not expected until 2021. Margaret Evans, CBC News, London.
Let's get to Ian now in our Vancouver National Newsroom. He is watching developing stories for us.
And Adrian, we're going to begin in Atlantic Canada, where a Labrador First Nations community is looking for support as it struggles to deal with a youth suicide crisis.
It affects the whole community, and the teens are crying out. They're saying, like, help.
Chief Eugene Hart declared the crisis last night following 10 attempted suicides in the last week alone. The small community has lost 14 people to natural causes in the past year. The federal government is working with the province to provide support and says it will provide funding for more youth support workers and security officers. Well, most of Canada will be turning the clocks back this weekend, but time may be running out for that fall ritual here in British Columbia. The provincial government will introduce legislation to move towards permanent daylight saving time. The bill would see the creation of a new name for this permanent time zone, Pacific Time. But it's still unclear just when the switch will happen and if it will be coordinated with the U.S. states on the West Coast. The Transportation Safety Board is calling for change after its investigation of a fatal helicopter crash 2 years ago. It happened near Tweed in eastern Ontario. 4 Hydro One workers were killed when their helicopter went into a spin and crashed. Investigators say a tool bag came loose and struck and broke the aircraft's tail rotor. They also found Hydro One didn't have clear rules for securing cargo and for passengers using shoulder harnesses. A 600-year-old World Heritage Site has been damaged in a fire. We'll have the latest in 20 minutes.
And next on The National, a dramatic warning about the world's coastlines. A new study sounds the alarm, and we get a different perspective of coasts at risk. In depth, right after this. 30 years from now, 300 million people around the world will live in areas at risk of annual coastal flooding due to sea level rise. That is far more than previously thought. Asia will be hardest hit. Take Metro Kolkata in India, for example. That's home to about 15 million people. This is the flood threat according to old data. This is what it looks like using the new data. But Canada will feel the effects too, especially in Metro Vancouver. Here's what the risk used to look like. Here's what it looks like now.
There's some very hard decisions to be made. A big one is, do we spend billions of dollars in trying to protect our coastlines through things like dikes and berms that can fail if the water gets too high or you get a big storm surge? It's just really hard to defend some of these structures. Or do we make the decision that a lot of communities are doing to look at retreating from the coastline, actually facilitating a pullback and moving communities that have been there for generations?
Okay, obviously that's easier said than done. In places like New York, the city most vulnerable to rising seas in all of the United States, we got a chance to see what is at stake there through the lens of J. Henry Fair, recently named the Environmental Photographer of the Year. He is capturing a bird's eye view of a growing threat.
I've found that the view from the air does several things. It allows me to see things that we don't see on the ground, whether that be something hidden, like toxic waste, or the shape of a coastline.
The picture I'm trying to take is the picture that tells the story of a city threatened by ocean rise.
I started by sneaking into refineries and things. It was cool, but it wasn't art. And then I was doing a cross-country, a red-eye flight, and looked out the window and saw a power plant shrouded in clouds, and I thought, aha, just get above it. I believe we're in a time when dialogue has failed. If someone is a climate change denier, nothing that I can say is going to change their mind. But if I show them a photograph of their city about to be, washed away, then maybe it'll make them think and ask questions and consider other opinions.
So we're gonna go up about 3,000 feet, up to this point. Do you want to take pictures from here? You want to continue up north? Just tell me what you want to do. That way I kind of have an idea of what I'm looking for.
Yeah, I'd like to circle here, get pictures, both from 3,000 feet and then from a little lower. Finding a good pilot that can maneuver where I want to go is the first thing, but there's always the weather and, 1,000 other things. It's really, I call it throwing dice with God, especially the weather aspect. So which way is the plane?
Plane is this way. Please follow me.
We're in the blue one?
Yes.
So this is typically what I would fly with, is the Cessna. You can find them all over the world. It's the Volkswagen of small planes.
All right, seatbelts are on, everybody, correct?
Seatbelt on.
Your window and doors latched, correct, sir?
Yep.
All right, you guys ready?
Let's do it.
All right.
Open traffic, you're going to have a Skyhawk departing 24 to the north. Over.
I was recently named one of the Environmental Photographers of the Year, which was a great honor. The picture that won that award is an abstract picture from a large brown coal mine in Germany. It shows the teeth of a giant bucket wheel excavator having made these concentric half circles, and then those are filled with liquid of different colors. My guess is the liquid that we see is what we call acid mine drainage. When we expose coal to rain, then it releases an acid. I did this series, Industrial Scars, which are specifically abstract expressionist pictures of toxics, and mostly toxics that we produce with the regular production processes, making the things that we buy. That's coal ash. This one is the waste from making Roundup. The first picture that was really a beautiful abstract, where I really saw, oh yes, was taken in the Kenogami Forest near Thunder Bay. In fact, it was a picture of the process waste from the pulp mill, which is making the most common brand of facial tissues and for which an old growth forest is being cut. I also went up to the tar sands and made some great pictures there. So this one is a picture of sulfur waste in northern Alberta. And we see this red, which looks symbolically like the blood of the earth. The things that I photograph are evidence, they are proof, but more than that, they're art. They are specifically to get people to think and ask questions. And then I provide the very factual answers to the questions. You know, oh, what is that? Well, that's oil from the Deepwater Horizon spill, which was certainly one of the worst offshore oil spills in history. What I want is for people to stop and think and consider, hey, what's my part in that? That's the picture of Charleston from the ocean. As an artist, I had to think, okay, well, what's next for me? And since the environment matters to me so much, I thought coastlines. This is what I want to do, a series of the cities that will be the first to be lost.
Maintain 1,400. Visit Verrazano Bridge is approved.
All right, 1,400 in the Verrazano, San Echo.
It's hard to imagine that something could happen to New York. It's so big, there's so much money, and it's this bristling island sitting in the water with all of these tall steel and glass structures on it.
Let's go right over the bridge and into the harbor. And can you lift up that wing a little bit?
Okay, so the water's going to rise a meter by the end of the century. That we're sure of. A meter's a lot. What will it look like? You know, what parts of New York will be underwater? Will it be like Acqua Alta in Venice, where people put on their rubber boots and slosh around? Do you think? Yes, sir. We'd like to go to Pier 45 on the Hudson River. I think most people aren't aware both of the impending issue and of their contribution to it. And that's the problem. So what do? We can act as individuals, but more importantly, we need to pressure our governments to respond to climate change.
Climate change is not a lie! Do not let our planet die!
What makes me hopeful is seeing young people getting out there and being active. When I see young people change from being consumers, which is a mindless activity, to citizens, which is a mindful activity, then I have hope. We should consider everything and act as if our grandchildren depend on our actions.
A lot to think about there. Next on The National, changing the prescription. Concerns over opioids as complicated treatment for people dealing with chronic pain. How doctors are finding a solution. Next. Almost 13,000 people in Canada died from apparent opioid-related overdoses between early 2016 and early 2019. The vast majority were from illicit fentanyl, but the ongoing crisis has prompted a rethink from doctors. Now, opioids are addictive, and dependency on them has been a problem for a long time. They're used legitimately to treat chronic pain, something 1 in 5 Canadians suffer from. But as Cass Rusey reports, doctors are prescribing less of those opioids, which makes treatment of that pain more complicated.
Raquel Haynes first learned to draw during a hospital stay. Now in her home, it's her therapy.
It takes my mind off my pain.
When she was 2, Haynes was diagnosed with sickle cell anemia, a genetic blood disorder that deprives the body's nerves and organs of oxygen. The 36-year-old lives in near constant pain.
It feels like the pain is so much and so heavy that I'm pinned down to my bed.
For many years, Haynes was prescribed 585 milligrams of an opioid daily, the equivalent of 130 Tylenol 3 pills. But that's now changed.
This guy saves my life most of the times.
For chronic pain sufferers like Haynes, opioids are a lifesaver. But access to the pain medication is getting harder because of doctors' concerns over addiction and abuse.
I have had patients refer to us because their doctors cut them from the opioids. And that's ridiculous because they were not addicted.
Opioid prescriptions dropped in some parts of the country last year, a likely outcome of updated guidelines 2 years ago that instructed doctors to put the prescription pad down and wean their patients off opioids. But the solution for chronic pain sufferers isn't always that simple.
The pendulum has just swung too far.
This pain researcher says the guidelines created a chilling effect among doctors who became uncomfortable prescribing opioids to their patients.
The biggest issue is massive ignorance and misinformation about pain management, what's appropriate, what is the appropriate role for opioids.
In your experience, what are the main barriers for opioid tapering and
in Toronto, Ferlin educates doctors across Ontario about chronic pain and the role of opioids in treatment.
If you try to taper, go slow.
She also suggests exercise and physiotherapy. Even diet and sleep can have an impact on chronic pain.
It gives me the chance to just focus on the canvas.
Raquel Haynes' doctors have tapered her down to around 150 milligrams a day. It's managing the chronic pain and helping her regain a near normal life. Cass Rusey, CBC News, Brampton, Ontario.
Ian is next with a look at stories developing around the world, also ahead. You know him from our Brexit coverage. Now he's making an exit of his own. The UK's boisterous Speaker of the House is piping down. That's ahead.
Welcome back to the National Newsroom in Vancouver. A fire has ripped through a 500-year-old Japanese castle, leaving the World Heritage Site badly damaged. Local reports say there have been no injuries, but nearby residents were told to evacuate as flames engulfed the Shuri Castle. It was designated Japan's national treasure in 1933 and was severely damaged during World War II. Boeing CEO was grilled again today, this time by the U.S. House Transportation Committee over those troubled 737 MAX planes.
Mr. Muhlenberg, you said you're accountable. What does accountability mean? Are you taking a cut in pay?
Dennis Muhlenberg says he hasn't offered to resign in wake of the tragedies and defended his pay package worth more than 30 million Canadian dollars. Muhlenberg did admit the company has made some mistakes on the MCAS software system built into the planes. 346 people, including 18 Canadians, died in the two 737 MAX crashes before the plane was grounded. And the U.S. military has released the first footage of the raid that killed the Islamic State leader Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi. Grainy video shows troops firing at militants on the ground as they flew towards the compound where al-Baghdadi was hiding in northern Syria. He fled into a tunnel and killed himself by detonating a suicide vest. Officials say 2 children had died with al-Baghdadi in the tunnel, not 3 as previously reported. 6 enemy fighters were killed during the Special Forces raid. Next on The National, millions of Canadians are breathing in risky pollutants, all because we live near this. But even a small amount of traffic can be dangerous. We'll explain next.
About a third of the people in this country live near a major road like a truck route, highway, or downtown street. And tonight, there is new concern about just how much pollution they're all breathing in as a result. Specifically, as Thomas Dagley explains, from one particular type of vehicle.
Every time Angela Saradnicki leaves her downtown Toronto home, she comes face to face with a giant, the busy Gardiner Expressway, and all the pollution that comes with it.
I don't want to know what my lungs look like because it's just kind of like scary to think about.
Yes, this city may be all built up around such busy arteries, but Toronto's not alone. Across Canada, more than 10 million people live within 250 meters of a major road, and that's close enough to be affected by vehicle emissions. So says a new national study led by Professor Greg Evans at the University of Toronto.
Some of these instruments collect once every second, and we've been collecting data for 10 years.
They may not look like much, but those devices here and in Vancouver are measuring emissions from the traffic going by.
Every time we breathe, we're inhaling about 5 million of these particles.
Evans calls it a soup of pollutants, from nitrogen oxides to soot, plus ultra-fine particles from brake and tire wear. This public health expert says the harm may be invisible, but
the real public health impact comes because we have so many people who are exposed to a small amount of risk so many days of the year.
Researchers say part of the problem is Canadians are buying more pickups and SUVs, though the worst emitters are said to be big diesel trucks, their use fueled by the growth of online shopping.
It's just a small portion of the trucks that are operated poorly maintained, or have even been tampered with. And if we can get those off the roads, that'll make a major improvement.
For those living near major roads, there's no easy fix, when just stepping outside means breathing in pollution. Thomas Dagle, CBC News, Toronto.
So there are no easy fixes, but the report does lay out a few recommendations. They include implementing policies to identify then remove the worst vehicles from the road, with older, heavy-duty diesel vehicles getting priority. Penalizing big emitters by restricting their access to some areas of cities, like near schools. And then moving pedestrian and cycling traffic away from high-exposure areas.
Okay, next on The National, our moment. They call it Club Med meets Club Dead, the seniors' home that goes all out and then some for Halloween. But first.
Order!
In case you missed it, you are going to miss this.
I'm not interested in people chuntering from a sedentary position to no obvious benefit or purpose. Zen! Order! I know what I'm doing.
Bask in the dulcet tones of the UK's Speaker of the House while you can, because tomorrow he retires.
I hope you will indulge me one moment while I say a word about you. I'm sure you will.
Today was his last Prime Minister's questions, and in that chamber where so little gets decided, a lot gets said. This day in honor of John Bercow.
You've done more than anyone since Stephen Hawking to stretch time.
Bercow was once Britain's top junior tennis player, by the way. That made for handy metaphors about his style.
Delivering a series of literally unplayable, formerly unreturnable volleys and smashes.
Respect in a place of rancor, and from the man himself.
I'll never forget it, and I'll always be grateful for it.
As will all of us for the moves of a verbal ninja.
Halloween, not just for the young. Just ask these two senior citizens. That's right. Behind those masks are residents from a Newfoundland retirement home. Their philosophy, you're never too old for a good scare. So, with a little humor, they came together to create their own haunted house. And that is our moment.
This is not a haunted house for the weak at heart. The theme of the night is Club Med turns to Club Dead. And this is a time when the residents take over and mayhem ensues. From zombie, grandmothers to caskets to heads on platters to, operating tables with guts spewed all over. This is, a stellar project by the seniors. We had caskets come in, from Dalton's Caskets. I called and said, hey, I need a couple of caskets. And the residents were like, let me in.
Well, I'm 91.
All right.
Some days I feel like 90.
The real story here for me is the vitality and the sense of humor that the residents, have attacked this project with. And attack is the word. The other part that's been near and dear to my heart is just how everybody has rallied together. If these seniors are willing to take on this workload at 99 and 95 and 92, then, we're going to come and support them and see it.
There's Teresa.
Man, that's creepy. Cool, but creepy. I just love how they started this last year. They thought they would get a few dozen kids. They got 400, and the rest is history.
And everybody's into it. If it isn't weird enough, the funeral home nearby said, hey, we can help out, and parked a hearse right in the parking lot.
And continuing that theme, we're told that they almost had to have a lottery among the seniors to decide who would get a chance to be in those caskets. There is not enough money in the world to pay me to do that. I wouldn't do it. And I would be scarred for life if I was a kid there. But it was a fun moment. That is The National for Wednesday, October 30th. Good night.
Good night.